Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Can I just have your attention for a moment, please? Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Waheshimiwa mabibi na mabwana, habari za jioni. Ni furaha yangu kuwakaribisha nyote sherehe hii ya kuzaliwa kwa Malkia. Ladies and gentlemen, it's once again my privilege to welcome you all here this evening to celebrate Her Majesty the Queen's birthday. There's a couple of things I have to be careful about in my remarks tonight. The first is that I shouldn't talk about the weather. We wanted to make the Queen feel at home by having a bit of rain, so I hope you all kept dry, but you've taught me well that rain is a blessing. And I also need to be very careful on the subject of football. I wasn't going to talk about it. I don't think I've seen my colleague, the Spanish ambassador. But my Italian colleague very gracefully came, so thank you very much for that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on a serious note, we're holding tonight's event in the aftermath of the tragic events of recent days. And I would like to propose that we begin with a short moment of silence for the victims of the appalling attacks in Mpeketoni. So I'd ask you just bow your heads for a moment as we remember those victims and all those who've lost families and loved ones. Asante sana, thank you. Now, in light of that, the main message of my remarks tonight is that more than ever, today, now, is the time for us to come together. You know, a familiar message of mine is that the partnership between Britain and Kenya is not only historic, it is deep, it is abiding, and it is real. Many of you are familiar with the statistics that you have heard me use before. On trade, the UK remains the biggest cumulative external investor in Kenya and the largest trading partner outside of East Africa. 5.5 of the top 10 taxpayers are British associated companies, and the top 2 private sector employers in Kenya are British. On aid investment, our investment through DFID in Kenya has increased by 50% in recent years, and we invest over £110 million a year to help the poorest Kenyans improve health and education, tackle conflict and create jobs. On defence and security issues, the UK is Kenya's longest and most steadfast ally. Our military cooperation with Kenya alone is worth about £58 million a year. But perhaps most important, and I think represented by this wonderful crowd tonight, and thank you all very much for joining us, is the friendship between our peoples. More people travel to Kenya from Britain than any other country every year, and there are 200,000 people of Kenyan origin living in the UK. Everywhere I go in Kenya, and it's been another year where I've been very privileged and delighted to travel around this wonderful country with my family, I am struck by the deep goodwill and the affection that comes from our long history together. Ladies and gentlemen, in all of these areas, we want the same thing. That's a more prosperous and a more secure Kenya, inclusive growth, more investment to deliver more jobs, and the delivery of Vision 2030. And some, in recent months, have questioned that shared interest. And to address that, I would like to, in good Kenyan tradition, tell a story of 2 animals. One summer's day, when the earth lay cracked beneath a burning noon sun, you can picture the scene, a lion and a buffalo came at the same moment to a watering hole to drink. They fiercely disputed which of them should drink first and were soon locked in mortal combat. On stopping together their strength for a final assault, they saw some vultures circling above, waiting to feast upon the one which would fall first. They at once stopped their quarrel, saying, "It is better for us to work together than to become a meal for the vultures." Ladies and gentlemen, the allegory is quite simple, and it's a lot more simple than some stories I'm told in this country, which I'm afraid I often don't understand when it involves an ant and an elephant, so we have to be a bit careful. But there have been a lot of rumours circulating about the recent travel advice issued by the UK government, which cautioned against all but essential travel to Mombasa Island and its immediate surrounds, as well as the temporary closure of our one-person consular office in Mombasa. Let me be crystal clear. This was driven solely by our objective assessment of the threat faced by British nationals, an assessment that was shared with the Kenyan authorities. The change was in no way driven by political or economic factors. We did not evacuate anyone. Our level of advice for Nairobi, or for that matter Kenya's wonderful national parks and safari destinations, has not changed for 2 years. 300 Britons left on the instruction of their tour company, 25,000 remain. Britain is not abandoning Kenya and remains here for the long haul. What concerns me is some of the underlying myths which circulate about this advisory change, and so I would like to tackle 3 of them head on. The first myth is that Britain wants regime change in Kenya. Which was the first government to congratulate the Jubilee administration on winning the 2013 election? Which was the first government to invite President Uhuru Kenyatta to travel abroad to the London Somalia Conference in May 2013? It was Kenya's oldest partner, the UK. The government of Kenya is democratically elected, will be in power until at least August 2017, and the British government is committed to working with it to achieve our shared goals. We are glad to do so in a climate which allows for strong opposition, space for civil society, a free media, respect for human rights and ends to impunity, the rollout of devolution, tackling corruption, and full implementation of Kenya's constitution. To take 2 examples from the last year that I've been privileged to work on which illustrate this, we have shown shared resolve to end impunity for poaching and stop the economic and security threats that come from the outrageous and runaway increase in international wildlife crime. We have also reached an historic settlement on the Mau Mau issue, showing that we are able not only to confront our shared past, but to learn from it and move forward stronger in a spirit of friendship and reconciliation. And I would like to mention and welcome tonight Mzee Itukwa Hangeri, who is the chairman of the Mau Mau War Veterans Association, who is here with us. And I believe that must be the first time we have had a gentleman of his distinction from the Mau Mau Veterans Association attending the Queen's birthday, and I think it's a fantastic signal of how our 2 countries have come forward together. The second myth is that there is a competition between East and West in Kenya. I don't agree. This is not the Cold War or the Great Game of the 19th century. This is a multipolar world where all countries benefit from a rise in foreign investment. I welcome and am excited about Chinese investment in Kenya. It will bring jobs and infrastructure which benefit UK interests, and we enjoy a vibrant relationship with China. There is no binary choice between East and West. Kenya should make investment decisions purely based on what is most in Kenya's interests. The suggestion made by some that the UK would want economic sabotage in Kenya is frankly laughable. An attempt on the part of the UK to sabotage the Kenyan economy would therefore represent a massive own goal. And as I hope our Uruguayan friends will learn this evening, we are not in the habit of own goals. I promised another football reference. The third myth is that the UK intends to abandon Kenya to face the threat of terrorism alone. We do not. The terrorist threat is a global one which affects us all. The wounds from Westgate are still raw, and the evil events this week in Mpeketoni only harden our resolve to stand together, shoulder to shoulder with Kenyans to tackle this threat. We are committed to strengthening Kenya's capacity to counter this threat through assistance on investigating, prosecuting and detaining terrorists in line with international human rights standards. Our support helps Kenya strengthen its borders and airports, police reform, and to our shared vision for a stable and prosperous Somalia, and that's why I think it's absolutely right that tonight's event is co-hosted with my friend and colleague Neil Wigan, our ambassador to Somalia. Vital in this effort will be to involve communities themselves. Actions to seek out suspected terrorists must not undermine community and national cohesion, nor risk pushing a new group of young people towards radicalization. Muslims make up over 15% of the Kenyan population, and they want peace and stability like all other Kenyans. I would like to applaud and welcome our chief guest, Honourable Aidan Duale, Leader of the Majority, for his leadership on this point. So those are my 3 myths, ladies and gentlemen, and I have said now is the time for us all to work together. What better example of that than the corporate sponsors who represent the close business ties between UK and Kenya and have made tonight's event possible. Please will you allow me to thank them. Our gold sponsors are De La Rue, printing Kenyan banknotes, Standard Chartered, leaders in Kenyan banking, G4S, keeping us safe, EABL, quenching our thirst. And I must mention RMA Group, distributing for Jaguar Land Rover, and I had the rather rare privilege of driving the F-Type Jaguar this afternoon, the first sports car ever to be launched in Kenya, exclusively in Kenya, and I now have a bit of a job to persuade the Foreign Secretary William Hague that it should be our new flag car. Please, can we applaud those gold sponsors? Thank you very much. I mentioned the 2 largest private sector employers in Kenya. One is G4S, the other is silver sponsor Finley's, producing some of the finest flowers, vegetables and tea in Kenya. Other silver sponsors are BCD Travel and British Airways, continuing their efforts to support the people links and tourism in Kenya. Tullow Oil and BG Group are at the vanguard of oil and offshore gas exploration, along with Afren, another exploration success story with a fine record of building strong community relations in Mandera, Wajir and Kwale counties. Finally, in our list of silver sponsors, I would like to thank Barclays, another leader in the finance sector, DHL Express delivering our packages, Seaforth in shipping clearance, and Amarang Group in agriculture, produce and telecoms. A big round of applause for them, please. And a final word of thanks to Mobius Motors, who shuttled some of you to the gate this evening in their prototype vehicle. A good example of British innovation working in Kenya. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, there is much which unites us. The Kenyan Constitution, one of the most progressive of its kind in the world, sets out clear processes for measured debate and addressing disagreements. It is essential that engagement on all sides is carried out in a spirit of collaboration, calm, national unity, and rejection of all forms of violence. We cannot allow myths and conspiracies to distract us from where our combined efforts need to be. Let us be clear that those who seek to engineer insecurity do so to diminish confidence and stability and to adversely affect economic growth and prosperity. Our response must be resolute. The UK's commitment to Kenya is unshakable. We will continue to stand with Kenya as we have through our long history. It is time for all of us, lions, buffaloes, and even pandas, to stand together. In doing so, we will deny the vultures their day. May God bless you in this remarkable country, Kenya. Asanteni sana. Now, just before I propose a toast to the President of the Republic, I would just like to acknowledge a few of the other distinguished leaders who've joined us this evening. One of the favourite phrases I've learnt in Kenya is "all protocols duly observed." I'm also pleased to have a message here, which I was happily given this afternoon, which is from His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, addressed to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and I thought I should read it to you if you will allow me. The President writes, "I have the honour on behalf of the government and people of Kenya to extend best wishes and congratulations to Your Majesty on the occasion of your birthday. As we join you on this auspicious occasion, we value the long and strategic partnership that happily exists between our two countries, based on mutual trust and values that promote human dignity and development. Your Majesty's exemplary leadership amongst the Commonwealth countries has inspired unity and cooperation over the last 62 years. We are grateful for the pivotal role the United Kingdom has played in fostering global peace and stability. I wish Your Majesty and the royal family good health, long life, and prosperity for the people of the United Kingdom." Ladies and gentlemen, I could not have put it better. Asante sana. So with that, the last job remaining for me is to ask you to raise your glasses. And I would like to propose a toast to the President and people of the Republic of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite you to observe the British National Anthem. And for those of you who wish, you are allowed to sing. Thank you very much.